What is going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the real reason I sold my brand. And yeah, let's just hang out for a bit and talk about this. I don't have some crazy presentation or anything. I just figured I would speak my mind on the topic of, selling a business and was it worth it and would I do it again. So the first thing that I'll come out and say is that the deal that we got for the business was very strong. It was a 2.75x multiple on yearly profits, which basically means that I got 3 years of profits up front to exit the business and no longer own it. And this came with a little bit of extra money added for a consulting window after the acquisition happened. So, all in all, I got 3 years of profits up front. And that's kind of like a good premise before I get into the actual reasons that I decided to sell the business. But the number one reason above all else that I decided to sell my business was literally just the experience. I've always wanted to build a business and sell a business. What does a business need to actually look like to have somebody want to buy it and take over? What does that actually entail, like in terms of the financials, in terms of how long it's been open, in terms of the trajectory? How do you explain to somebody why you're selling your business? And in my mind, this was always kind of like a stepping stone. So there's multiple different ways that you can go about this. Some people choose to just grow one company for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and go for like a big mega, a big fat mega exit down the road, for 100 million, whatever, 100 million plus is usually the number that people throw around. The way that I always looked at it was kind of an incremental thing, right? Like you kind of build a business, it's an okay business. Like you're not going to build a home run on your first go around, at least not in a few years, like we were able to do for this one. Maybe if you went 15, 20 years, you could definitely hit a home run. But to me, it was kind of like an upgrade thing where it's like I kind of build something, sell it, build something better, sell it, and kind of work my way up over time to eventually, hopefully finding one thing that I can focus on for 10, 15 years and go for the moonshot, as a lot of people call it. So for me, like getting this experience out of the way of building a business, seeing the way that it's ran, cleaning up all the books, working with a broker, putting it up for sale, talking to all the buyers. Like I literally just wanted the learning experience, and being able to sell a business as an asset was a really, really strong learning experience. And now I know I'm working on my next businesses already, even though I just sold the business a few months ago. Now I know the types of things that buyers really care about, what they're looking for, how I can position the next business to get a stronger multiple. So I learned a lot, and to me, I'm able to now implement that in future opportunities because at the end of the day, real wealth is built by building assets. And we'll touch on this in a minute, but not necessarily through selling assets, even though that is what I did in this instance. The next reason is that having a cash flowing business is great, but especially with e-commerce, if you look at my YouTube channel, you can see that I'm very big in e-commerce. The cash flow isn't like somebody writes you a check every month. It's up and down. Some months, are positive cash flow and you can take distributions. Some months are negative cash flow and you actually have to eat into your reserves. So it's very up and down, and it's not as sexy as it seems just holding on to a company. And I've been very grateful to have multiple very successful businesses, and lots of cash reserves have been built up through investing in real estate, saving money, stocks, whatever. So the cash flow has never been that big of a deal to me. But one thing it has taught me is the power of having a lot of cash available and liquid. So the reason I bring this up is because having cash gives you power to do a lot of things. It gives you power to think longer term. It gives you power to make bigger investments and take bigger risks. And one issue I see with a lot of like newer entrepreneurs, I would even consider myself a newer entrepreneur, if you're 5 to 10 years in, is you don't have enough cash to actually be able to make the right decisions for the moonshot. Because the moonshot, the thing that you're going to spend 10 years building, 15, 20 years building, and then go for that mega exit, like there's probably going to be cash flow issues. There's probably going to be times when you need access to capital, and sure, you can raise it or whatever, but having a lot of cash liquid just on your net worth available is a really, really powerful tool. And selling your business right now, even though you're only yielding, 3 years of profits, or, depending on your business, you could get even more or some less. that's a lump sum of cash that you can use to deploy into the next opportunity. And if you think back to like old video games where you could prestige, they used to call it prestiging, or you can reset the game, except this time you kind of get a multiple. So prestiging in video games is kind of like you basically beat a game and then you restart. And why would you restart? Like, why would you beat the game just to restart it again? And usually these video games will allow you to restart with a bonus, whether it's like a multiple on money that you earn through achieving levels, or it's a multitude on strength or defense or whatever. So basically you can complete the whole game, go back to day one, except this time you have a 10% boost on every dollar you make, right? So that's kind of another viewpoint that I had in terms of selling a business was, even though it's like you got to the point where you can sell the business, you sell it, you're kind of starting over, but this time you're starting over with a lump sum of cash, a ton of experiences, and probably some new connections that you made through, talking to prospective buyers, and possibly even some retained equity or cash flow. Like, depending on the deal, when you sell a business, you can get a lot of benefits. Obviously, the way that you use those benefits is really, really important, but as somebody who comes from no money, like having a business with no money is really painful. And in my experience, it led to myself making very short-term decisions that actually hurt myself in the long term. As of the last 5 years, I've been in business for about 9 years. Liquidity and cash hasn't been as big of a problem for me. And that has been extremely powerful in allowing me to make really, really good decisions. And basically defer paychecks when I need to avoid making short-term decisions and continue making decisions that are going to grow the business in the long term. So yeah, on that point, number one, having liquid cash is extremely powerful, especially if you're in a business like e-commerce where it's very up and down. And the next point is the prestiging, right? Like being able to restart, but this time you have more money, more experience, more connections, which kind of leads me into the next point, which is the business model of e-commerce is very, very quick. Now, I don't want to say that for the beginners, because if you're a beginner and you're just starting out, it could definitely take you years and years and years to figure it out and start making money. But for somebody who has had, 2, 3 winning brands that have scaled and done numbers, and if you've been in the game for, 3 to 5 years, then you know that you can find a product, test it, and scale that product to 100K profit a month within just a couple of months of starting. And that's just the nature of e-commerce. And understanding that kind of gave me the perspective that if I sold the business, it's not like I would have to spend another 10 years building something from the ground up. It's like I can find something that sells really well online, implement everything that I learned through growing the last one, and literally in a few months be up, back and running right where I left off on the last business. And while it'll be a newer business, so it won't be sellable, I can just do that for the next few years and then sell it again. And hopefully this time it's a bigger business, a better business with higher profits and a higher multiple on the exit. That's why I said that prestiging in a video game transfers to this point very, very well. Because the way that e-commerce is set up, you can find a product, start selling it, spend a few months developing it, make it a really, really good product, and then scale to, literally $10 million year one. Like, this is more than possible. And I know that not all businesses are like this. That's why I'm specifying e-commerce can change very quickly. If you're in a position where you just spent, 3 years, 5 years building an e-commerce brand, and you sell it and you get 3 years, 4 years of profits up front, now you can turn around and probably build the exact same cash flow and a pretty similar business a lot better with the new experience you have, and you have 3 to 5 years of cash flow from your last business to help you build this new one. And the final reason why I decided to sell my business was strictly around my personal beliefs about the business, where it was going, how passionate I felt working on it. I pretty much just believed that it was time for me to sell this business. And I have a magnitude of reasons why, but I felt like there were limitations with the product category. I felt like there were limitations with, my personal skills. Like, I wasn't learning quite as much as I wanted to, because I was operating very much in a field that I've been in for a long time. So I kind of was just ready to move on. And personal beliefs are more important than anything else in business, because like 90% of the work is in your mind. And if your personal beliefs are that it's your time to sell your business, then you probably should. And if your personal beliefs are that you want to run your business for another 5 years, you probably should. Again, this is not something that's right or wrong, but I do believe that your belief becomes the reality, and I believe that it was time for me to sell the business, so I did. And you'll probably notice that none of these reasons are because of the actual business itself. Like, there's nothing wrong with the business, and actually now I'm realizing how good of a business it actually was, because it's actually profiting more money still after I sold it than it was last year. And now I'm helping transition all the business operations to the new owners. And somehow they're actually scaling it and running it better than I was. So either I'm a really, really great mentor, or they know something that I don't, and they were the smart ones here buying the company. And I do truly believe that the new owners will make more money than I have made off of that brand, and they probably will continue to. And I've also realized through the process, not that I regret selling it, but I also do realize that the new owner is going to continue making positive cash flow, month after month, year after year, just like I was when I owned the business. And in 3 years, they would have realized all of that cash flow, and then the business will probably be worth more than what they paid me for it. Does that make me feel some type of way? Well, honestly, I feel like with my beliefs and the reasons I just gave you, it was my time to kind of let it go and push it off to new owners. And I really, really genuinely hope that they do well with it. Like, I was not jumping a sinking ship at all. And that's not my feelings. My feelings really were that we sold the business at the best possible time. Maybe we could have waited a little bit longer, because I would have preferred to have a higher profit, because we were not profit maxing for a full 12 months, which is usually what is recommended in these types of situations. But they understand something that I don't quite understand yet, apparently, allegedly, which is that assets are cash flow. So if you have something that cash flows, it's an asset. It's worth something, whether it's real estate, business, investments, whatever. But also cash flow equals assets. So it kind of works the same way around, where if it's something that provides cash flow, usually it has an asset value to it. And if it's something that has an asset value to it, usually it provides cash flow. And by selling a business, you're basically taking the asset value and giving up the cash flow, which technically, if you look at your books, right, if you look at your net worth and the amount of money that you're making, it'll never be a profitable move to sell an asset in exchange for the value of the asset. So on paper, it's really never worth it, because if that business continues to cash flow, then it'll continue being worth what it is. So technically, we could have kept the business for another year, another 2 years, 5 years, and as long as the cash flow was about the same or better, then the business would be worth about the same. So it's not like I would have lost that asset value if I just kept the business, but I would have kept the cash flow. So that is one thing that I've learned over the last 5 years, especially in real estate, and now, treating businesses more like assets, is that yes, selling a business can make you extremely wealthy, but also on the contrary, I can see a world where, I end up building and buying businesses and just end up not selling them, and possibly selling portions of them, but, keeping them over time. Because this was only a 3-year store that I sold, and if I just kept it for another 10 years, then it would have been a 13-year store. And if you don't know much about selling businesses, a 13-year e-commerce store is worth a hell of a lot more than a 3-year, even if the profit is the same, just because of the time. So that's one thing that I learned. So I definitely don't regret selling the business, but that's my reasons for doing it. And no, I don't regret doing it. I actually think it was a very powerful play, because now I have 3 years of profits that I was making with that brand to go and build something bigger and better. And hopefully I'll sell that one, and I'll just keep doing it until eventually my skills exceed the amount of money I'm making, and things just take off, and eventually I can work on the moonshot, or have enough cash to where I can just build something and not worry about money for the next 10 years, 20 years. So I lost the asset, sold the brand, lost the cash flow, but I gained almost 3 years of profit upfront, and all the experience that I learned growing that I can now prestige into the next brand in a much stronger cash position, and in my opinion, much smarter than I was before. So those are all my points. If you want to talk more about this, please leave a comment. You can also join the Discord down below. We have calls every single week where we discuss this exact kind of stuff. And I would love to talk to you and meet you. Obviously, I'm out here just working on e-commerce, probably same as you. And I'm trying to learn and get better every single day and document my journey here. So yeah, this is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.